So while I am doing his hair, I am going to go ahead and um, read a little bit of the book that I finished. It's called Journey of Abstinence. This is part 7. This isn't the beginning, so this is in the middle. This chapter is about being trapped in too many places, in one too many places. So here we go. Mental blockages can become a crippling problem. Usually it's easy to let go. Once you learn how to, then it becomes mindless behavior. What happens when you do let go, but something in the senses follows? Find you everywhere you are, sort of like running away from a ghost. You don't see it, but you know it's there, trying to pull you back, hold you down on full attack mode is how you feel, so you yell out, just leave me the hell alone. Let me be. But it doesn't, not until you submit or become submissive to what you see as history or the possibility. Invisible chains feel very real at this point. You don't see them, but you sense they are there. You look at your wrist and you can't help but hold the position of them being tied together. Anxiety floods your mind until you find yourself having a nervous breakdown. You lay down, but where you lay your head tugs at your face to frown. Will I ever have peace from this place constantly at war with me? I scream out, let me fucking be. What's torture? Is a question I didn't mind until now. What happens when you stop playing chess? What will you do with the rest of your life? She asked. His response, I don't understand. There was this girl whose life revolved around the chessboard. She was an orphan who eventually got adopted. What intrigued me most was the vitamin she took. The orphanage had a strict policy that required these kids to remain healthy, making it easier for those who were to come and adopt the children. I guess something less to worry about. This pill gave this child the ability to see the challenge beforehand. She would visualize a game board in her mind, preparing ahead of time for her next opponent. Eventually, they took pills just as any drug they've inaccurately tested, mentioning that the age requirement changed. She became addicted, but eventually growing through this due to no access after finding the child breaking through security to obtain what she desired most. As time passed, it's crazy how those very vitamins found its way back into her life. Life has a strange way of playing the servant role for keepsake, beyond the hands of humanity, but at the same time through the very being itself. I say this because turns out her that her adoptive parents were having prescribed the very prescription. What's also crazy is that you would think of a prescription as something needed rather than wanted, being that her prescription used to be a vitamin given to the orphanage, and by my experience, I'm pretty sure it's no different than a shelter giving hand me downs to those less fortunate. So yes, that kind of strikes me in a very interesting way. This is getting besides the point, but I've become a bit curious as to how one being given this prescription would feel as if she knew the pharmaceutical drug was something she really didn't have to depend on as much as she did. Such things just take a toll on our minds, only from what we have heard or who we have allowed access to the brain mind itself. So as time went on and she got her hands back on the vitamins, she gained back the strength it took to see beyond reality. I refer to this as her extraordinary ability. She was very interested in chess before she found out about the prescription, but I guess she wasn't as motivated, or maybe it was more of a wake-up call from one world to another. She went on pursuing this passion of hers until she eventually lost one game. How she lost this game from the outside looking in, I could see that she was becoming exhausted, but she had gotten so far that she had to maintain her composure. She was not in the spotlight where your presentation is everything. She was now in the spotlight where your presentation is everything. She couldn't figure out what went wrong. Her foster mother assumed it was just a common loss, but she knew that it couldn't be. She mentioned his movements were silent. She couldn't read his hand. She couldn't understand what happened. From my perspective, I seen two people from two different worlds, one with a hand in the dark and one with a hand in the light. You could also say a reflection from the other side of the mirror. As children, we don't understand how important it is for us to remain intact with the world, and a lot of us aren't given that chance. Being stripped from our innocence blindly without much protection, or in the very place we thought we'd be the safest. In the long run, after taking what's been given, you come to a standing point where you feel clueless as to what more is out there, as if she was trapped in a chess box, finally stepping out and seeing nothing different. In the end, there was a young boy sitting at the table facing the chessboard. She was his opponent. If we was to rewind back to the time when that was her, then maybe she would understand the question she asked him and why his answer turned out the way it did. What happens when you stop playing chess? What will you do with the rest of your life? She asked. His response, I don't understand. Was her life taken by chess or was her life found by chess? There wouldn't be a comparison and their answers wouldn't be the same. I would think because if the answer is yes, then he's another reflection of what she actually looks like now that she's finished the game. Overthinking can be a tool of a hindrance. You can stay in one place, allowing all of your thoughts to swallow you, or you can get up and run while you still can. Journey of Abstinence, Part 8. Never show your hand. When an aching pain settles in the pit of your stomach, what would you do? You would go and get medicine or maybe something to help it settle the feeling. Sometimes our habits can put us in a loop. You're subconsciously thinking, this is why. So you reach into your past and you pull out an idea and you run with it. A sober person doesn't look much different than an addict. It's about the mentality. One is going out with one mindset of I gotta have it, while the other is fixed on the reality of what it is. Therefore, they are humble with knowing when you're finally grounded. It's easy for you It's easy for your perception to become distorted. What's hard is making the chase less about how you feel, but what's real. It's also hard to stop once you've started and return back to the present moment where you could just experience time unravel without doing much thinking. We now accept that learning is a lifelong process of keeping abreast of change. And the most pressing task is to teach people how to learn. Peter Drucker. There was this song I listened to recently about bag ladies. At times we carry more than we can we at times we carry or we take on more than we can carry. We take on so much and eventually we feel the weight of these things grounding us more and more until we are damn near on the floor. In my past experience, I really paid no mind, or as a conversation struck me earlier, the conscience has a way of its own. It's sad that the brain is its own heart within the head, making the head a body organism of its own. The point I'm making is that there are also There are those of us that are stuck living one life disregarding the other, so much so that we don't seem to notice these bags or even question what's inside, maybe into the last minute. Being so caught up or wrapped up on the capacity of the bag, we feel as though we can conquer whatever falls into, disregarding the physical body which has to do the carrying. So that when we come back into the moment, not only are we full physically, but also mentally, then we are home. And there is still a plate waiting to be ate, but we are too full to participate. Time waits for no one. So honestly, I can't sit back and expect this situation to wait for me. As passionately as I feel, what's real is tearing me down. The more I try, the less my vision becomes clear. When your only wish for the holidays is to contribute something, only if it's one item to make an impact on what's been obvious all year, but what's coming in is as wasted time of being fixated on the wrong road. In the past, I could provide so much, and I understand now what a privilege and opportunity it would be for me to provide just one. That would be enough to get maybe a little light bulb to flicker in the dark. Journey of Abstinence Part 9. When one door closes, another opens. Letting go of what no longer serves you. Is it the space taking up the room? Is it the memories, the why you let go of me? A change in scenery, possibly? Or was it low tolerance to superstition, disrupting your vision to a mission that you no longer serve? Did I strike a nerve for you to toss me to the curb? This behavior is absurd. Am I thinking straight? There's not too much on my plate. Something seems to be missing. I don't like this feeling. Maybe I'll undo what's been done, but then I'll be back to square one. I like I like it this way, but I'm unsure if I'm ready. No, I don't like it this way. This feeling is scary. I'm not ready. I'm not ready. I don't know if I want to cry or yell or come out complaining to myself about where did I go wrong. At times we are clueless and think to ourselves, who are you? Then that's just the part of yourself that you wouldn't give the time of the day to actually listen to. The idea of you that was put on hold until the time you were or are bold enough to give a response, spending so much time thinking, eventually you begin reacting in who's there to question what you are doing if you are the only one in the room. When the ball gets rolling, I stand in the mirror and say to myself, who are you? With tears rolling down my face and in disgrace to pursuing something I felt I had no business to. This is me being angry with myself, but sometimes shit happens and you won't always be happy or proud of everything you do that makes you comfortable, because maybe the discomfort was in the middle of your comfort. But there was just too much going on for you to notice until the moment you sat down and decided on the decision that was made. When corrections become undone, some situations you will have to go over repeatedly, as a sentence you read but couldn't quite comprehend the first time. It is what it is. It's like looking at the sky, seeing it's blue, but you stand there assuming that it's purple, because life can be so deceiving at times. It's, it's not that you want it to be that color. It's just hard and difficult to see something for what it is or believe that this could be true. Does it really take for someone else to come participate with you? Stand beside you to take part in the view? Yes, the sky is blue. Communication cuts like a knife when what's spoken doesn't mean anything at all. Walk the talk. Where has this phrase gone but onto the path where the footsteps leads back to a place of broken dreams? Where hope falls like a shooting star from the sky when it said, I'll be there, where that place isn't. where that place isn't where you are, but further away from what's expected or wanted. I like to feel this is good. This is all right. It'll just teach me not to go looking or assuming everything will go as planned. But then again, that doesn't make it fair or right to leave one wondering. Could it be anger and maybe a judgment made without knowing? Could it be a weed growing beside my flowers and edibles to take away from my appetite? You will never know anyone's reason without explanation. If you go on holding on without their validation, you may let something in to destroy any possibility of growth. It's hard to make your journey about you when there's a few loose screws without the proper tools or cooperation. It's safe to say this just so happens to be an unfortunate situation. What's closure without the other party but a loss you have to be willing to accept? When you're approached with another chance, will you take it or lay down your hand without any regrets? Maybe then all will be tossed away in that moment. Then you can see the chance card for what it really is. Chance card, red, walk away. What's comforting, the thought of what experience it would be to sit back and feel the warmth, smell the essence, and listen to the silence of your own solitude. Pleasant aromas coming in and filling the room. Should I open a window? While the atmosphere flow out to be taken away, or will it join in the air at play? Just to imagine, would this be enough? Quote by me. Aisha Center. I'm going to stop there and turn on the beat.